a briefcase shackled to his hand, running for the 810 special, from dreams that too soon turn to sand. What I need is a place to go, dead as I've had my share. I got to find a road that I can hold, and a way to get me there. Troubles in the rearview mirror, that's where they belong. It's time to move now, time to get along. Time to sing a song of sunrise, a song of open road, a song of sunrise and the open road.
Hello, I'm Monty Markham. I'm here to help bring you a film about motorcycling. It's presented by Yamaha and your local Yamaha dealer. We're going to cover many aspects of the sport. Speed record runs, professional racing, and even motion pictures' infatuation with motorcycling. We're going everywhere from the dirt of the mile track at Sacramento to the polished concrete floor at New York's Madison Square Garden. But we haven't forgotten the simple pleasure of just getting off by yourself with your bike. I guess that's what it's really all about. It's where it begins. The greatest appeal of motorcycling is that it can be so many different things to so many different people. Freedom, competition, relaxation, sport, recreation, and just plain fun. That's probably why motorcycling's popularity has exploded in the last few years. Fact is, an exciting new television special covering all aspects of the sport has recently been released. We want to start off our film with it. It's called The World of Two Wheels. If you haven't already seen it, here's a preview just for you. Exactly the way you'd see it in a screening room at the studio.
World of Two Wheels is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha, it's a better machine.
We say Yamaha is a better machine, and we can prove it. We've got Enduro front forks. They're tough. We've got 5-speed synchromesh gearboxes. They help you move out in a hurry. Dust-free waterproof brakes, so when you want to stop, you stop. Automatic oil injection system, separate tach and speedometer, detachable lights, pop-up foot pegs, and something you can't see. A tradition of racing and winning.
Nearly 4 million Americans own motorcycles. If you're one of them, this is your scene. If not, welcome to the world of two wheels. Motorcycling is really making it. In the 10 years since 1960, bike registrations have jumped 400%, an increase 3 times greater than four-wheelers, from minis to the big bangers. The average rider gets his kicks on the open road. Tack revving 6 grand, wind in his face, a delicious sense of freedom so rich he can taste it. It's a kind of soul food for the guy who wants to get away from it all. But it's more than that. The motorcycle is a relatively simple machine. The bike enthusiast probably knows more about his machine and does more with it than most motorists. He finds a great satisfaction in getting maximum performance from his bike. But the most fun comes in competing against his fellow riders. Off the road is where it's at. The weekend happenings like Scrambles, hill climbs, motocross, and desert enduros. Like the TT Scrambles at Salinas, California. A scramble is a race run on a closed course. A little bump or two, some hairy turns, and always a fast straight. The Salinas Ramblers Motorcycle Club puts it all together. This year, more than 12,000 people helped a good cause. The race benefits the Salinas Elks Cerebral Palsy Fund, which got $16,000 from this event. That's doing your own thing and helping the other guy at the same time. Would you believe 648 riders from all over California, Palo Alto, Monterey, Fremont, Redwood City, all amateurs out for a weekend of fun. Every make of bike and range of horsepower. This out-of-sight maneuver is called a rear wheel stand. The idea is to go as far as you can on one wheel. Gary Dillard from San Jose was top dog in the wheelie. When last seen, he was out of sight. Raw excitement. The 250cc expert mains. Hold on, man. These guys are gonna do it. At the flag-off, Jack Jensen from San Jose grabs up the lead. They'll go at it for 6 laps, averaging 50 miles an hour, with flat-out speeds reaching 80. Paul Johnson on bike number 5 nips by Jensen at the end of the fast sweeping straight and opens it up to eventually ride home the winner. The racers are broken down into classes based on engine size. The riders are classified by experience. They race a couple of heats, and the fastest get into the main event. That's when they let it all hang out. Next, the side hacks. It takes 2 to handle this beast, a rider and a guy they call the monkey. Dave Roche comes home the winner, and Monkey Tom Ridyard suffered no more than a twisted tail. That's all there is to it. A little gas, the right skins, a helmet, and 2 wheels. There's no money to win, but what you get out of this wild, wild world of 2 wheels will bring you back for more. Bonneville, like another world, a giant 11-mile salt lick where nothing lives. Bonneville gets with it 3 months of the year when the salt water settles, leaving a dry, hard-caked surface that's a natural for going fast.
Bonneville is just a funny place. Speed is something that's just hard to tell anyone, you know, what it's like to go fast.
When you are going fast on the salt, you don't actually realize it because there's nothing real close to you to indicate speed.
It's racing in a form that you find nowhere else in the world.
And especially on two wheels.
The two-wheelers at Bonneville are the ultimate in mechanical achievement. It's man and machine against the clock as they try to set national speed records. The riders enter their bikes in different classes. Some, by modifying their bikes, will try for records in a couple of classes. Like Art Barta from Orange, California. Here he is in a modified 250cc Yamaha running on fuel. The record he's shooting at, 106.812 miles per hour.
Whoosh.
Average 125.306.
The really exciting bikes are the streamliners. They don't look like motorcycles at all, but they are. Rick Vesco will be riding one, probably close to 250 miles an hour.
Well, a streamlined motorcycle is, you know, quite a bit different from what you would normally think of a motorcycle, but it's a standard motorcycle that has been lengthened around 8 feet, maybe more. You completely lay down in it. You have a complete framework built around the driving compartment. The driver is safety belted in, padded. There is several different safety items. Inner paneling, which protects the rider from exposure to the salt if the outside body panels leave, if there was an accident, that is.
Rick Vesco was going 170 miles an hour when a wind shift or something sent him off course. He's okay though, but we can't say the same for his bike.
Get in 2 gears at once and lock up.
The world speed record for a motorcycle of 245.667 miles an hour was set in 1966 by Robert LePan in a twin-engine streamliner. That's the record that Don Vesco is shooting for. Don and Rick are brothers and longtime commuters to Bonneville. Don ran the circuit as a professional road racer, but once he got a taste of salt, he's been spending his time building streamliners. There's no gold for going faster than anyone else. Even Don's not sure why he does it.
They probably are kooks in some ways, but it's, I don't know why exactly you do it. It's something I always wanted to do. And it took a long time to achieve what I've done, as far as being able to make the machine, getting the knowledge to make it, having people that can help you with design and construction of it. It's not a one-man project at all. As far as why you do it, I don't really know. Just the satisfaction of going faster than somebody else or being able to achieve something that you wanted to do.
Vesco made a number of stabs at the world record till he finally succeeded in breaking it. He set 6 class records in all, including his ultimate speed run of 251.924 miles per hour, a new world record for motorcycles. But this didn't stand for long. A month later, Cal Rayborn took it away from Don with a better than 265-mile-an-hour run. That's the way it is at Bonneville. You put it all together, and the other guy puts you down. But as long as there's salt, Don Vesco and the others will be back with their two wheels. You better believe it. Motocross, Mother Nature in the raw. A wheel-bending metal massage that leaves you settle sore and marrow weary. But man, you wouldn't want it any other way. This is motocross racing at Carlsbad, California. A new form of motorcycle racing that combines man-to-man competition with the added challenge of natural obstacles. Unlike Scrambles, which run on a near-flat oval, a motocross is raced over naturally rough ground. It's a closed course with left and right turns, switchbacks, hills, sand washes, whatever's there for nature to dish out. The motorcycles are still called trail bikes, but these babies are really built to take it. They're trimmed to the bone, have beefed-up suspensions, knobby tires, and all kinds of other goodies. As in the Scrambles, the bikes and riders are broken down into classes to give the less experienced riders a fair chance and to make the competition closer. One of the riders at Carlsbad is 14-year-old Morris Malone. Morris started when he was about 10 on a mini bike. He moved up to a 120cc and then took over his dad's 250. He's been in competition for about 4 months now, and Dad says he's learned a lot.
It teaches them a lot of things, concentration, sportsmanship, mechanics. And, of course, like in Morris's case, he hopes sometime to be a world's champion, and it's strictly training from here, probably for the next 6-10 years even.
The training's tough. Morris entered 2 classes against older and more experienced riders. He came in second overall in the 250 junior division, winning the last heat. And in the 500cc class, he took all the marbles, grabbing 2 out of 3.
Of course, Morris has one disadvantage, and that's his weight and height. He's only 14, and probably weighs about 90 pounds. And on a rough motocross course, he doesn't have the muscle to muscle the bike around. So he has to ride purely from skill.
It takes a lot of skill to muscle a 230-pound bike around and win. Not a bad afternoon's work for a little kid. Each rider gets points for his finish position. At the end of the year, if he has enough, he moves up into the next division. It takes the average rider about 4 years to make it to the expert class.
That's not bad. That's going into expert.
The experts are the heaviest guys on wheels. Motocross isn't fast, it's rough. The bigger bikes and faster riders only average about 30 miles an hour. Even at that speed, it's tough to keep it all together. Motocross, another world of two wheels.
The Bonneville Salt Flats, September 17th, 1970. The first man and motorcycle to go over 250 miles an hour. Take another look. It is a motorcycle. Don Vesco pushes his Yamaha Streamliner 251.924 miles an hour. One of 16 new speed records set by Yamaha at Bonneville this year. Of course, there aren't too many people who want a motorcycle that goes that fast. After all, it costs something like $20,000. And you need a 12-man pit crew just to keep it tuned. And except for Bonneville, there really aren't too many places to ride it. But Yamaha makes 14 machines that are built to be better where you want to ride. And they are.
Any motorcyclist will tell you the best way to beat up a bike and rider is in a long-distance cross-country race. These riders are getting ready for a hare and hounds, a real live bump and grind. The scent of the hare is actually a trail marked with lime stretching 190 miles from Yucca Valley across the mountains and desert of Southern California to the Colorado River. The hounds are the riders. The first dog to finish wins. An endurance race like this hare and hounds is the truest test of durability. The rider and his machine are as one, alone against a seemingly endless parade of tortures. Competitors almost cease to exist. It's man and motorcycle, partners in a battle of survival. The first touch with reality is at the gas checks. The riders must stop and have their bikes marked to prove that they haven't taken any illegal shortcuts. Their families and friends have been running a parallel course on public roads, intercepting riders at 4 checkpoints to supply much-needed fuel and refreshment.
So you're really using gas?
Is that wet? Don't give me
Yeah.
a wet one. I don't want a wet one.
Man, Frank's hot. How is it?
Huh? Terrible.
Terrible?
Oh, it's just straight away, bump, 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 mile after mile after mile.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not knocking the run, it's just the way some people like this stuff. I like it a little more twisty. See you later.
Here trails end. The lone survivors thread their way over fire roads, weaving through the age-worn lava hills of Arizona. The river has been crossed, and the end is in sight. A 4-hour love-in with Mother Nature will keep these guys happy till next week. It'll happen again the week after, too. And as long as there are hills, sand washes, switchbacks, and 2 wheels to run them with. If it looks like a groove, maybe we'll see you next time, brother.
World of Two Wheels has been brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha, it's a better machine.
That's a 25-minute look at the world of 2 wheels. But it'd probably take more like 25 hours to tell the whole story. This combination of materials, duct tape and toweling, they're part of that story. They're used by riders to pad their inside boot when running on polished concrete, a form of competition that just got a tremendous boost from the Yamaha Silver Cup Series, a knockdown, drag-out celebration.
These boots ain't made for walking. They're riding boots, being given special treatment for indoor concrete racing. The riders cover the bottoms with toweling, rug, or an old sock and tape it on good and tight. The left foot is used as an outrigger, helping the rider to maneuver his bike in an almost continual controlled slide. After a 2-year absence, concrete racing returns to the arena in Long Beach, California, just south of L.A. This is the first leg of the Yamaha Silver Cup, a series of events taking riders from here to Madison Square Garden in New York and to Jacksonville, Florida. Nearly 100 professionals will thrash around this 8-mile teardrop oval in a series of elimination heats before the Cup race. Top riders from the AMA's Grand National Championship circuit are here, including 24-year-old Gene Romero, the 1970 national champion. Chuck Palmgren, currently ranked 8, is one of 3 racing brothers. This is Rusty Coppage, a Yamaha rider, enjoying a break from the hectic day-long practice sessions. The bikes they use are actually dirt short trackers, and 250cc's is the maximum engine size allowed in these indoor events. Engines, gearing, chassis, suspension, tires, all must be adapted for concrete racing and then refined to match the individual style of the rider. Concrete racing, contrary to what it seems, is an intricate, subtle contest.
Most of the bikes don't have brakes and are very light, racing motors, expansion chambers, and all to help the machine perform at its peak. So it's much faster than the average trail bike and much lighter.
From road racing, they have different chassis, which is the frame, and different tires, and that's about your main difference. And as far as different from a dirt tracker, they're exactly the same as our dirt short trackers, except we just change the gearing on them, and some riders use a variety of tires, which vary track to track.
Some of the fellas have brakes, and some of them don't have. The bike I'm riding today, it has brakes on it, but I'm not using them because you're like, you just run it wide open just about all the time. You just, when you get to the corner, you just lean it over. You don't have to worry about stopping.
The only tricks I've seen to come up with is changing the wheel base, which puts more weight on the front wheel or more weight on the rear wheel, whichever the bike feels best towards the track.
Everybody has their own ideas because no one really has a set way of doing indoor racing. So we
Some guys run shocks, some guys run rigid frames, and it's just all personal preference. The main thing is get a good start off the line. It helps an awful lot.
It relies 75% on the start. You get off the line, you can go twice as slow as a guy, because one rider does have to pass you if you're holding the groove. He has to go on the outside, and he's got to go so much faster to get around you.
Top speed is a lot less on racing inside on the concrete because it's a lot smaller track. And where like a dirt track, we run 80, 90 miles an hour. And run pretty close. Now this indoor cement track, like top speed is about 40 miles an hour. But there's a lot more action because everybody knows if they happen to fall off, they're not going that fast, they're not going to get hurt.
Well, as you get going out there, there gets more rubber on the track constantly, and the tires pick it up and get sort of a glaze on the tires. So these guys take a wood rasp, and keep the tire roughed up, and it's more pliable of the surface. And that's the main reason they do it.
Oh, that's far out. We started at about 1964 back east. And then I think they started out here in about 1967. They're going to have that big race at Madison Square Garden, so it'll be a far-out show back there.
Back here at Long Beach, 9 of the top finishers in the qualifying heats start in the first of 2 semifinal races. Keith Mashburn is on the pole, with amateur Al Kenyon next. Gene Romero on bike number 3 is also in the lineup. It's a 7-lapper. And here they go. Al Kenyon bolts into the lead with Mashburn and Mike Yarn behind. Romero shows great style, getting past Bob Bailey into 4th. Husky Alan Kenyon from Cupertino, California, has a lot of experience on concrete, although he's rated as an amateur. Kenyon opens up his lead. Mike Yarn is very unhappy being 3rd and literally pushes by Mashburn. That concrete isn't just slippery, it's hard. This moves Romero into 3rd and Bob Bailey to 4th. That's the way the first semi wound up. Al Kenyon first, Mike Yarn, Gene Romero, and Bob Bailey. The second semi was a close one. Again, these riders were the winners of the afternoon's qualifying heats. The lineup included Jim Odom, top pro Dave Aldana, Mark Brailsford, Dave Hansen, and another hot amateur, Joe Henry on bike 42Y. Hansen gets a great start from the outside and jumps into the lead, but everybody can't be second. When things get too messy in these indoor brawls, the officials call it off and restart. That's quite an advantage to the guys who dumped. They get a clean start and a shot at the flag. This time off, Joe Henry, the amateur, gets out front. Hansen, Odom, and Brailsford right up his